Odisha is a state in eastern India. It is located on the coast of the Bay of Bengal. For many years, this region was known as Orissa. However, its most ancient and famous name is Kalinga. Kalinga has a very long and rich history. This history stretches back thousands of years. Many powerful kingdoms and great rulers have shaped this land. The story of Kalinga is a story of bravery, art, and culture. It is an important part of India's larger history. Understanding Kalinga helps us understand India. Ancient Kalinga covered a large area. It was much bigger than the modern state of Odisha. Its territory stretched along the eastern coast of India. It included parts of present-day Andhra Pradesh and even West Bengal. The land was very fertile. Great rivers like the Mahanadi, Brahmani and Baitarani flowed through Kalinga. These rivers made the soil rich for farming. They also provided pathways for travel and trade. The geography of Kalinga played a big role in its development. It allowed the people to prosper. The earliest people of Kalinga had a distinct culture. Archaeologists have found tools and pottery from ancient times. These findings tell us about their lives. Ancient Indian texts also speak of Kalinga. The epic Mahabharata mentions Kalinga and its warriors. It suggests Kalinga was a significant kingdom even in those early days. The people of Kalinga were known for their skills and their independent spirit. They built strong communities and developed unique traditions. Their early history laid the foundation for future greatness. Kalinga was famous for its strong and independent people. They were known for their courage and fighting skills. This independence was a key feature of Kalinga's identity. Many powerful empires tried to conquer Kalinga, but Kalinga often resisted fiercely. This spirit of resistance is a recurring theme in its history. The land was rich in resources, including elephants, which were important for warfare. Kalinga's early reputation as a formidable kingdom was well earned. It was a place of power and prestige in ancient India. Kalinga had a very long coastline along the Bay of Bengal. This long coast was a great advantage. It allowed Kalinga to become a major maritime power. The people of Kalinga were skilled sailors and shipbuilders. They built many ports along the coast. Some famous ancient ports were Tamralipti, Palur and Pithunda. These ports were busy with ships coming and going. The sea was like a highway for Kalinga. It connected them to distant lands and cultures. This maritime activity brought wealth and knowledge to Kalinga. Kalinga had strong trade links with many foreign lands. Its ships sailed to Southeast Asia. They reached places like Suvarnabhumi, which means land of gold, likely referring to parts of modern Myanmar, Thailand, or Malaysia. They also traded with Java, Bali, and Sumatra in Indonesia. Kalinga merchants also sailed to Sri Lanka, then known as Simhala. They traded valuable goods. These included textiles, spices, precious stones, and even elephants. In return, they brought back goods and riches from these faraway lands. This trade made Kalinga a prosperous kingdom. This maritime trade was not just about goods, it was also about the exchange of culture and ideas. Kalingan culture, art, and religion spread to Southeast Asia. Indian religions like Hinduism and Buddhism were carried by traders and monks. The influence of Kalinga can still be seen in the traditions and languages of some Southeast Asian countries. For example, the word Keling in Malaysia and Indonesia was used to refer to people of Indian origin. This shows the strong connection Kalinga had with these regions. The cultural impact was significant and long-lasting. The people of Kalinga were excellent shipbuilders. They knew how to build large and sturdy ships. These ships could travel long distances across the ocean. This skill was vital for their maritime trade. Their knowledge of navigation was also very advanced for that time. They understood the winds and currents of the Bay of Bengal. Every year, Odisha celebrates a festival called Bali Jatra. This festival remembers the ancient voyages to Bali and other parts of Southeast Asia. It is a reminder of Kalinga's glorious maritime past and its adventurous spirit. The Kalinga War happened in 261 BCE. It was a very important event in Indian history. At that time, the Mauryan Empire was very powerful. Emperor Ashoka was the ruler of the Mauryan Empire. He wanted to expand his empire further. Kalinga was a strong kingdom on the east coast. It had not been conquered by the Mauryas before Ashoka. Ashoka decided to attack Kalinga to bring it under his rule. Kalinga was known for its independence and its army. The war was expected to be difficult. The Kalinga War was extremely brutal and violent. The people of Kalinga fought very bravely to defend their land. They did not want to lose their independence. The Mauryan army was very large and powerful. The fighting was fierce and many people died. According to Ashoka's own records, hundreds of thousands of soldiers were killed in the war. Many more people were captured and taken away. The land of Kalinga suffered terrible destruction. The rivers turned red with blood. The scale of death and suffering was immense. After the war, Ashoka visited Kalinga. He saw the destruction and suffering caused by the war. He saw the dead bodies and heard the cries of the people. Ashoka was deeply moved and filled with remorse. The sight of so much bloodshed changed him completely. He realized the terrible cost of war and conquest. This was a major turning point in his life. He felt great regret for his actions in Kalinga. The war had brought him victory, but it also brought him immense sorrow. This experience led to a profound transformation in his thinking. Because of the Kalinga War, Ashoka decided to give up warfare. He converted to Buddhism. He adopted the policy of Dharma Vijaya, which means conquest by righteousness and peace. He started to spread the teachings of Buddha. He sent missionaries to other countries. Ashoka inscribed his new beliefs on rocks and pillars throughout his empire. These are known as Ashoka's edicts. In these edicts, he described the horrors of the Kalinga War and his change of heart. The Kalinga War thus had a lasting impact not only on Ashoka but also on the spread of Buddhism in Asia. After the decline of the Mauryan Empire, Kalinga regained its independence. A new dynasty called the Mahameghavahana dynasty rose to power. The greatest ruler of this dynasty was Kharavela. He ruled Kalinga in the 2nd or 1st century BCE. Kharavela was a very powerful and ambitious king. He wanted to restore the glory of Kalinga. He is remembered as one of ancient India's most important emperors. Much of what we know about him comes from the Hathigumpha inscription. This inscription is located in the Udayagiri hills near Bhubaneswar. Kharavela was a great military leader. The Hathigumpha inscription describes his many victories. He led military expeditions in all directions. He defeated many kings in North, South, and Central India. He even challenged the Satavahana kings in the Deccan. He brought back wealth and tribute from his campaigns. These victories made Kalinga a dominant power in India once again. Kharavela expanded the territory of Kalinga. He showed that Kalinga was strong and could not be easily subdued. His military achievements were remarkable for his time. Kharavela was a devout follower of Jainism. He did a lot to promote the Jain faith. He renovated Jain shrines and supported Jain monks. The Hathigumpha inscription begins with a Jain prayer. Despite his military conquests, he was also known as a benevolent ruler. He cared for the welfare of his people. He undertook many public works projects. He repaired and extended canals for irrigation. He built embankments to protect against floods. He also organized festivals and entertainment for his subjects. These actions made him popular among his people. Kharavela's reign is considered a golden age in the history of Kalinga. He brought back pride and prosperity to the land. He was not only a conqueror, but also a patron of art and culture. He repaired forts and built gateways. He is remembered for his strong leadership and his dedication to his kingdom. The Hathigumpha inscription is a testament to his achievements. Kharavela's legacy is that of a powerful emperor who restored Kalinga's status as a major Indian power. He remains an iconic figure in Odisha's history. Section 5. The Ganga dynasty, temples and imperial grandeur. The Eastern Ganga dynasty was a very important dynasty in Odisha. They ruled for a long time from the 11th century to the 15th century CE. Their rule marked a period of great cultural and architectural achievements. The Ganga kings were powerful rulers. They expanded their kingdom and defended it against enemies. They were also great patrons of art, religion and literature. Under their rule, Odisha saw the construction of some of its most magnificent temples. These temples are still admired today for their beauty and craftsmanship. King Anantavarman Chodagangadeva was one of the most famous Ganga rulers. He reigned for over 70 years, from 1077 to 1150 CE. He was a great warrior and a skilled administrator. He united a vast territory that stretched from the river Ganges in the north to the river Godavari in the south. Chodagangadeva was initially a Shaivite, a follower of Lord Shiva. Later in his life, he became a devout Vaishnavite, a follower of Lord Vishnu. He is credited with starting the construction of the great Jagannath temple in Puri. This temple became a very important pilgrimage site. Another powerful Ganga king was Narasimhadeva I. He ruled from 1238 to 1264 CE. He is famous for his military victory over the Turco-Afghan rulers of Bengal. This victory protected Odisha from invasion. Narasimhadeva I is best known for building the Sun Temple at Konark. This temple is an architectural marvel. It is dedicated to Surya, the sun god. The temple was designed as a giant chariot for the sun god. It had 12 pairs of huge wheels and was pulled by 7 horses. The temple was a symbol of his power and devotion. The Konark Sun Temple is one of India's most famous monuments. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The temple is covered with intricate carvings. These carvings depict scenes from daily life, mythological stories, animals, and floral patterns. The craftsmanship is truly breathtaking. Unfortunately, the main tower of the temple collapsed long ago, but the remaining structures still show its former glory. The Ganga dynasty, through rulers like Chodaganga Deva and Narasimhadeva I, left an indelible mark on Odisha's landscape and culture. Their temples are their lasting legacy. Section 6. Dynastic shifts and the reign of Tribhuvana Mahadevi. After the decline of the mighty Eastern Ganga dynasty, Odisha saw other important ruling families. The Gajapati dynasty followed the Gangas. They ruled from the mid-15th century. The Gajapatis were known for their military strength. They fiercely defended Odisha against invasions from neighboring kingdoms and the expanding sultanates. They were also great patrons of Odia literature and culture. Under their rule, the Jagannath cult grew even stronger. The Suryavanshi Gajapatis, like Kapilendra Deva and Purushottama Deva, played a crucial role in shaping medieval Odisha. Before the Gangas, another significant dynasty was the Bhubaneswar dynasty. They ruled over coastal Odisha from the 8th to the 10th century CE. Their capital was Guhadevapataka, which is believed to be near modern Jajpur. The Bhubaneswaras were patrons of both Buddhism and Brahmanism. During their time, Mahayana Buddhism flourished in Odisha. They built monasteries and temples. The Bhubaneswara period was also important for the development of Odia script and language. They maintained trade relations with other parts of India, and even with countries like China. A remarkable feature of the Bhubaneswara dynasty was its women rulers. Several queens ascended the throne and ruled effectively. One such prominent queen was Tribhuvana Mahadevi I. She ruled in the 9th century CE. She came to power after the death of her husband and son. She was a capable administrator and a wise ruler. She maintained peace and stability in the kingdom. She was known for her piety and her patronage of religion. Her reign is an example of the important role women played in the governance of ancient and medieval Odisha. Tribhuvana Mahadevi. I was not the only queen to rule during the Bhubaneswara period. Other queens like Prithvi Mahadevi, Gauri Mahadevi and Dandi Mahadevi also held the reins of power. This shows that women could attain high political positions in Odisha at that time. These queens faced many challenges, including internal conflicts and external threats. Yet they managed to rule successfully. Their contributions to the administration, culture and religion of Odisha were significant. They are remembered as strong and benevolent rulers in the history of the region. Section 7. Maratha Interlude, a period of transition in Odisha. The powerful Mughal Empire began to weaken in the 18th century. This decline created a power vacuum in many parts of India, including Odisha. Regional powers started to assert their independence. The Nawabs of Bengal had nominal control over Odisha after the Gajapatis. However, their hold was not very strong. This situation made Odisha vulnerable to attacks from other rising powers. One such power was the Marathas from western India. They were expanding their influence across the subcontinent. Odisha became a target for their expansionist ambitions. The Marathas, under the Bhonsles of Nagpur, invaded Odisha several times in the mid-18th century. After a period of conflict and instability, Odisha came under Maratha control around 1751. The treaty signed with Alivardi Khan, the Nawab of Bengal, formally ceded Odisha to the Marathas. This marked the beginning of Maratha rule in the region. For about half a century, Odisha was governed by Maratha subadars, or governors, appointed by the Nagpur rulers. This period was one of transition for Odisha. bridging the gap between Mughal influence and the eventual British takeover. Maratha administration in Odisha focused mainly on revenue collection. They implemented their own systems of land revenue. These systems were often harsh on the local population. The common people sometimes suffered due to heavy taxation and the exploitative practices of revenue officials. The Maratha governors changed frequently. This led to a lack of consistent policy and sometimes contributed to instability. While the Marathas were effective military campaigners, their civil administration in distant provinces like Odisha was often less efficient. The period was marked by some economic decline for the local populace. Despite the administrative challenges, some aspects of Odishan culture continued to thrive. The Marathas were Hindus and generally respected the religious traditions of Odisha. The Jagannath temple in Puri continued to receive patronage, although sometimes there were disputes over its management. The Marathas did not interfere much with local customs and traditions. Their rule, however, was relatively short-lived. By the early 19th century, a new power, the British East India Company, was rising in India. The Maratha presence in Odisha eventually gave way to British colonial rule, marking another significant chapter in its history. Section 8. British rule and the dawn of a new province. The British East India Company expanded its control over India in the late 18th and early 19th centuries. Odisha came under British rule after the Second Anglo-Maratha War. The British defeated the Marathas and annexed Odisha in 1803. However, Odisha was not administered as a single unit initially. The northern and coastal parts were attached to the Bengal Presidency. The southern parts were included in the Madras Presidency. This division of Odia-speaking regions under different administrations created many problems for the people. It affected their language, culture and identity. British rule brought many changes to Odisha. The British introduced new systems of administration, law and land revenue. Some of these changes, like the introduction of Western education and modern infrastructure, had positive aspects. However, British policies also led to economic exploitation. Traditional industries like weaving declined due to competition from British manufactured goods. The new land revenue systems often caused hardship for peasants. There were several uprisings and movements against British policies, such as the Paker Rebellion of 1817. Social reforms were also initiated, sometimes challenging existing customs. The division of Odia-speaking territories led to a growing sense of linguistic nationalism. Odia intellectuals and leaders realized that their language and culture were being neglected. They began to demand the unification of all Odia-speaking regions into a single administrative unit. One of the most important figures in this movement was Fakir Mohan Senapati. He was a great writer and a social reformer. Through his novels, short stories and poems, he highlighted the social issues of his time. He also worked to promote the Odia language and instill a sense of pride in Odia identity. The struggle for a separate Odisha province gained momentum in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Organizations like the Utkal Samilani, founded by Madhusudan Das, played a key role. They campaigned tirelessly for the cause. They submitted petitions and organized conferences. Finally, after decades of persistent effort, the British government agreed to their demand. On April 1st, 1936, Odisha became a separate province. This was a historic achievement for the Odia people. It was the first province in British India to be formed on a linguistic basis. This day is celebrated as Utkal Divas. Section 9. Modern Odisha, forging a future from a storied past. When India gained independence from British rule in 1947, Odisha was one of the existing provinces. However, its territory was not yet complete. There were many small princely states within and around Odisha. These states were ruled by local kings. After independence, these princely states were gradually integrated into the Indian Union. Most of the Odia-speaking princely states merged with Odisha. This process was completed by 1949. Odisha then became a full-fledged state within the Republic of India, with its present boundaries largely established. The capital was shifted from Cuttack to Bhubaneswar. In the years after independence, Odisha faced many challenges. The state was economically backward. Poverty, illiteracy and lack of infrastructure were major problems. The government focused on development activities. Large dams like Hirakud were built for irrigation and power generation. New industries were set up, particularly in mining and metal processing, as Odisha is rich in mineral resources. Efforts were made to improve education and healthcare facilities. Land reforms were introduced to benefit farmers. The journey of development has been long and continues today. Modern Odisha proudly carries forward its rich cultural heritage. The state is famous for its classical Odissi dance, Patachitra paintings, and exquisite handicrafts. The Jagannath Temple in Puri remains a major spiritual center, attracting millions of devotees. Odisha is also known for its beautiful beaches, wildlife sanctuaries, and ancient monuments. The state is rich in mineral wealth, including iron ore, bauxite, and coal, which contribute significantly to India's economy. However, Odisha also faces challenges like frequent cyclones and the need for sustainable development that benefits all its people. Odisha's journey from ancient Kalinga to a modern state is truly epic. It is a story of resilience, artistic brilliance, and cultural richness. The people of Odisha have faced invasions, natural disasters, and economic hardships, yet they have preserved their unique identity and traditions. From the mighty Caravella to the visionary Fakir Mohan Senapati, many great individuals have shaped its destiny. As Odisha moves forward, it continues to draw strength from its long and illustrious past. It remains a vibrant and integral part of India's diverse cultural and historical fabric.